Shut the up. I don't give a dude. Look at this. Look at this. He's fighting a professional boxer.
Joe Rogan just attacked Jake Paul after Jake decided to stop the Mike Tyson fight and then randomly picked a new opponent for July 20th. I mean, seriously, Jake Paul thinks he's the king of the fight world, scheduling and canceling matches like he's deciding what's for dinner. But Joe Rogan is done with Jake's drama. He laid it all out, exposing Jake's sneaky tactics and what he had in store for his poor next opponent. No one ever thought Jake could be this devious, but here we are. It all kicked off with Rogan personally reaching out to Jake, trying to knock some sense into him about the dangers of underestimating a legend like Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson is the best heavyweight of all time. I don't think anybody with him
Beat Larry Holmes. I think that Mike Tyson is the best heavyweight of all time. I don't think anybody fucks with him.
Always the realist, Rogan tried to drop some wisdom bombs on the young, cocky fighter. He basically told Jake, dude, don't bite off more than you can chew. Tyson's no joke. But in true Jake Paul fashion, our favorite YouTube star turned wannabe boxer laughed it off. He straight up mocked Joe, calling him and Tyson old and washed up, thinking he's untouchable, like nothing and no one could shake his confidence. As the fight date drew closer, everyone was buzzing with excitement. Fans were practically salivating at the thought of Jake trying to back up his big talk against the formidable Iron Mike. But then, just as the hype was reaching a fever pitch, Jake Paul did the unthinkable. He announced he was canceling the fight. The news hit harder than one of Tyson's punches, leaving everyone in shock. Joe Rogan's prediction had come true, and suddenly Jake's cocky laughs turned into stammering excuses. Joe Rogan's reaction was priceless and immediate. He was absolutely floored by Jake's sudden change of heart. I can't believe this kid is backing out after all that talk, Rogan roared, echoing the sentiments of disappointed fans everywhere. For weeks, Jake had been running his mouth, painting himself as this fearless warrior ready to take on Tyson. And now, he looked like he couldn't handle the heat. Rogan's frustration was palpable. He didn't mince words, pointing out how this move would haunt Jake's career. Rogan emphasized that Jake had missed a golden opportunity to prove himself. I never saw anybody who looked like Mike Tyson in his prime. I think you can't maintain the kind of focus that was required to be this guy.
Cassius Clay, I never saw anybody who looked like Mike Tyson in his prime. I think you can't maintain the kind of focus that was required to be this guy.
Rogan didn't stop at just venting his disappointment. Even so, he went further, dissecting the potential repercussions of Jake's decision. He laid it out clearly that backing out could seriously damage Jake's reputation, not just in the boxing world, but among his own fan base. Rogan highlighted that this fight was Jake's big chance to show he was more than just a loudmouth. By canceling, Jake had undermined his own credibility. But do you really think Mike's gonna let Jake off the hook without teaching him a brutal life lesson? There's no way Mike Tyson's ever gonna forgive Jake Paul for stirring up this mess and then trying to sneak out of it. That's why Mike Tyson's $350 million lawsuit bombshell against Jake Paul has everyone in the boxing world losing their minds. And trust me, this isn't just another headline-grabbing stunt. This is some serious, real-deal legal stuff with potentially disastrous consequences for our boy Jake. The lawsuit was filed because Jake, in his infinite wisdom, decided to cancel their big fight at the last minute. And now, things are heating up like a summer barbecue. Tyson is suing Jake for a whopping $350 million. That's not just a number they pulled out of a hat. This figure represents the massive financial stakes tied to the fight. We're talking about millions from ticket sales, pay-per-view buys, sponsorships, the whole shebang. By bailing out, Jake not only let down his fans, but also threw a huge financial wrench into the works. Tyson's legal eagles are out for blood, making it clear that Jake needs to be held accountable for this colossal mess. For Jake Paul, the stakes couldn't be higher. If Tyson wins, Jake might have to cough up $350 million. Yeah, you heard that right, $350 million. That's enough to make even someone like Jake, who's rolling in dough, break out in a cold sweat. The financial hit from losing this lawsuit could knock out his career and all his side hustles. You can bet this whole ordeal has Jake feeling the heat like never before. By taking this to court, Tyson is saying loud and clear that you can't just flake out in a fight and expect no consequences. It's about respect, commitment, and not screwing over your opponents and fans. Tyson's team wants to set a precedent, making sure every fighter knows that you gotta honor your commitments in this sport. The ripple effects of this lawsuit are huge. It's sparking a big conversation about professionalism and accountability in boxing. Promoters, fighters, fans, everyone's watching how this plays out. The outcome could change how contracts are handled and how fighters behave. Tyson's bold move shows he's all about upholding the sport's integrity and making sure business deals are respected. Now, Jake Paul, the king of controversy, is in a tight spot. The lawsuit has put him on the ropes, forcing him to face some serious consequences. The legal stakes are massive, and the financial blow could be catastrophic. As this lawsuit moves forward, Jake's got to tread carefully, balancing his public persona with the harsh realities of his legal nightmare. I promise the people that on July 20th, Mike will be put to sleep and he will feel my power. I will go down as the man who put Tyson to sleep for the last time.
Is on July 20th, Mike will be put to sleep and he will feel my power, and I will go down as the man who put Tyson to sleep for the last time.
Tyson's legal team is not messing around. They've got a rock-solid case detailing all the money lost because of Jake's last-minute cancellation. They're focusing on breach of contract, lost revenue, and the hit to Tyson's reputation and future earnings. This isn't just about getting some cash back, it's about making Jake pay for what he did. Public reaction to the lawsuit is all over the place. Some people are cheering Tyson on, loving the idea of holding Jake accountable. Others feel bad for Jake, thinking his health and safety should come first, especially against a powerhouse like Tyson. But Tyson's fans argue this lawsuit is bigger than just the fight. It's about integrity and responsibility in professional sports. And Joe Rogan's explosive reaction to Jake Paul's decision to back out of the fight with Mike Tyson has been a whirlwind of disbelief and anger. Rogan, the veteran UFC commentator and all-around badass voice in combat sports, didn't hold back when he got the news. You could practically see the steam coming out of his ears. As the news of the cancellation spread, Rogan's commentary got even sharper. He didn't mince words. There's not a goddamn chance in hell that Jake Paul would survive against Mike Tyson.
That Jake Paul would survive against the Mike Tyson that beat Mark,
he declared, his voice dripping with frustration. This was Rogan at his blunt best, saying what everyone was thinking. Jake was in way over his head with Tyson. Rogan's straightforward assessment hit home for a lot of people, making it clear just how big of a deal this fight was supposed to be. And then came the missed opportunity part. Rogan hammered home the point that this wasn't just a personal setback for Jake. It was a huge blow to his credibility. This move will haunt Jake's career. He missed a chance to prove himself, Rogan noted, emphasizing that Jake had blown a golden opportunity to shut up his critics and show he was a serious contender. Instead, he backed out, and Rogan wasn't about to let that slide. The fight with Tyson wasn't just any fight, it was a shot at something bigger, something that could have changed Jake's career forever. The reaction from the boxing community was just as telling. Rogan's comments ignited a bigger conversation about what it really means to be a competitor. By backing out, Jake had accidentally highlighted the difference between real sportsmanship and just playing at being a fighter. Rogan's analysis drew a clear line between those who respect the sport and those who use it for personal gain. But here's the thing. Instead of canceling the fight outright, Tyson decided to postpone it. That says a lot about his commitment to his profession and his fans. Despite the serious health scare, Tyson was determined to keep his promise to fight Jake Paul. This decision shows how much he respects the sport and understands what's expected of him. By postponing instead of canceling, Tyson is making it clear that he takes his commitments seriously and is willing to go to great lengths to honor them. It's a move that highlights his professionalism and dedication, qualities that have defined his career. Of course, the postponement has bummed out fans who were eagerly waiting for the showdown, but the reaction has been overwhelmingly supportive. Today was the day you know play with fire sometimes happen.
Today was the day, play with fire.
Fans and fellow athletes have sent their well wishes for Tyson's speedy recovery, showing they understand the gravity of the situation. In the meantime, Tyson's training has come to a screeching halt. Known for his intense and rigorous training sessions, Tyson was in hardcore prep mode for the fight with Jake Paul. His trainer, Rafael Cordero, has always been vocal about Tyson's dedication and work ethic. We cannot talk about 57 years old that does movements than kids with 21 years old cannot do. He does movement that people with young age cannot do, so I can measure 57 years old with 20 years old.
He does movements that kids with 20 or 21 years old cannot do. He does movements that people with a young age cannot do. So I can measure 57 years old with 20 years old. I cannot.
There are a ton of lessons Jake Paul could learn from his seniors, but instead, he's too busy running his mouth and throwing shade like it's his day job. But let's be real here. Do you think Jake's going to get a wake-up call for all his shenanigans? Will he finally face the music and get punished for his wrongdoings? Or is he going to slip away unscathed yet again? Stick around because this drama is far from over, and you won't want to miss how this wild ride unfolds.